like tens of thousands of dollars, like betting on like the World Series.
Sorry, I have to stand up for all the baseball heads out there before they flame you in the comments, Jake. It's a playoff game. It's not a World Series. Okay. Sports hat off.
I didn't know you were that into baseball.
I'm not, but I'm trying to prevent any.
You're like, I'm masking well.
What do you know about two certified bankers? PhantasmaCast.
Welcome back to PhantasmaCast, where we watch our favorite movies two at a time.
And you should too.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Derek.
We want to start off just by, thanking everyone who watches the podcast.
Truly.
We put a lot of thought into putting these pairings together. They really just are movies that like we enjoy watching.
Yeah. So we really, our main goal is to entertain and inform.
And if this is your first time listening and you thought because of the poster on this episode, these guys are fucking geniuses for pairing Bad Lieutenant and Dragged Across Concrete, subscribe.
Yeah, you're right. Let us know that we're right by hitting that subscribe button.
On to the show. I let the cat out of the bag a little bit. Today we're talking about Bad Lieutenant, Abel Ferrara's Bad Lieutenant, and
S. Craig Zahler's Dragged Across Concrete, which is not a title clearly that I'm like prepared to say because I keep tripping over it. Dragged Across Concrete.
To speak of dragon, for fuck's sake, Derek. No, yeah. So our first like idea for putting this together was like cops crashing out.
Yeah. Because we inadvertently kind of stacked the deck a little heavy in this season with like cop drama stuff.
Yeah.
And even so much that I was like, I fear we're doing too many cop movies a little here. But it's just,
we're towing a thick blue line this season.
Yeah. So yeah, we start off with Bad Lieutenant. We'll just jump right into it. Jake, do you want to give us a rundown for folks that have not heard about Bad Lieutenant?
What to say about Bad Lieutenant?
Yeah. Give us the definitive answer right now.
If you want to see Harvey Keitel in his prime
and all his naked glory,
and he's in his 50s in this movie and he's fucking jacked.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And he is strung out. He is abusing his power and citizens in the same stroke. Watch this movie. And if you want to peek into like hard New York, if you want to look at that like late 80s, early 90s before it was all gentrified, like this movie is a movie with texture. It was a movie that was guerrilla filmed in New Jersey and New York.
Yeah, I don't think they had any permission to do any of this.
No permitting whatsoever. Yeah. They would just walk into places and film. Then yeah, this is that kind of movie. I hesitate to say it's a slice of life, but it's a slice of this fucking guy's life, and it's batshit insane.
Yeah, it's not one you're like, man, I just want a good like feel good movie. I'm gonna pop in the old Harvey Keitel Bad Lieutenant right now. No, it is a grim journey into the soul, really, of someone you probably think does not have a soul or deserve any kind of like spotlight, really, and that's what's kind of fascinating about it. But the overall plot is this guy LT. We only know him as LT. He doesn't really have a name, but our sense of what is going on is purely like kind of driven by not like a conventional plot by any means.
Yeah.
It's like this series of baseball games going on, a National League, like a fictional National League pairing between like the Mets and the Dodgers. And he's like betting everything he has, or honestly, shit he doesn't have.
Yeah, he's doing these really large, like tens of thousands of dollars, like betting on like the World Series.
Sorry, I have to stand up for all the baseball heads out there before they flame you in the comments, Jake. It's a playoff game. It's not a World Series. Okay. Sports hat off.
I didn't know you were that into baseball.
I'm not, but I'm trying to prevent any.
You're like, I'm masking well.
Yeah, I'm trying to prevent any negative feedback that would come our way. It's like, oh, you fucking amateurs! It's a playoff game.
Click.
Yeah. Thumbs down.
But like, so like, he at the same time he is a cop, right? And one of the things that really kicks off the plot is the violent rape of this nun by two kids in this part of New Jersey.
By kids, we mean like 16-year-olds.
Yeah,
really.
It really is I think you said it. It's like a series of like vignettes almost of this really damaged, addicted man who, as I'm watching the movie and I realized there's not a shred of happiness that he displays whatsoever.
No.
He takes no joy in the sex that he has, in the drugs that he does, or in the gambling that he does throughout the film.
Or like those brief moments where he's with his family, and you could be very well forgiven to think, what family?
He doesn't even talk to them.
No, he just exists around them.
Yeah, he's a fucking shell of a man. And so you gotta wonder what drives this guy to do all of these things.
Yeah, and I think to answer that, I think the only introspective moment we get is he says some kind of line of like, "You can't kill me," like I'm invincible or some shit like that.
I know what you're talking about.
What was
it? So there's twice in the movie that he says, "I'm a Catholic."
Okay.
And
clearly
the religious motifs, they occur a lot throughout the movie. A Catholic nun is raped. Like, it's a movie about redemption, I guess you could say, in the end.
But by the end, from the outset, it's really hard to tell.
But in terms of like trying to figure out who this guy is, where his spirituality lies, right after the nun is raped and the cops are kind of like, they're talking about this reward that the Catholic Church is putting out. They're going to pay $50,000 for anyone who has information leading to the arrest and capture of these guys. LT is like, women get raped every day, but now that it's one of theirs, they're going to like cough up all this money.
Right.
And another one
the
of
church is a racket.
Yeah. He says that. He says the church is a racket. Detective responds, "You a Catholic?" And then LT says, "I'm a Catholic." So
sources trust me.
So he like at one end, very critical of the church, right? Which, like, I'm not a Catholic. I've never been a Catholic, but like in my observations of a lot of just like everyday Catholics, there is this kind of like, it's like less of a religion and more a lifestyle kind of thing.
Right.
Where, in the same breath, you can say Hail Mary, but also like acknowledge that the church is kind of like this almost corrupt.
Yeah. It's like all encompassing. It's something that doesn't just stay in the church, really. It follows you home. It becomes like the dogma of the parent, the parental unit, to be like, be a good Catholic.
Yeah, and you don't even necessarily have to not sin, right? Because it's all about asking for forgiveness after you sin too.
Yeah, like existing as
you
a
got to
sin,
carry
really.
the guilt of your sins around with you. As he's going through the motions of the shit that he's up to, he's making these bets on the baseball game. He keeps losing. He keeps upping the bets.
That's really like our stakes getting higher is how much further in the hole this guy's getting.
Yeah, Abel Ferrara says the reason I don't bet is because if you bet $10 and you lose You can't just bet $10. You got to bet $20 to get out of the hole. And if you lose, then you got to bet $30. And then if you lose that, you got to bet $60. You know, so he has to keep upping the stakes if he wants to get out of the hole that he's in.
Yeah, getting that one good win is nonsense. It's, wow, I'm lucky. Let me keep this going.
Yes.
It is a cycle that you get stuck in.
And it kind of creates a false sense of like invincibility, I think.
Yeah.
Of like, you know, I may be down today, but I'm going to be up so high tomorrow. The movie is about, like, in the end, redemption, but it is also kind of like a character study in addiction of all kinds.
Truly.
You know?
Yeah.
And that invincibility comes back later in the movie. He has, I think he's lost he's down 60 grand or 120 grand. I can't remember if he's on his third bet. He's trying to get the bookie to take the bet. And the bookie's like,
oh, is this in the club?
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And the bookie's like, I don't think you understand how deep in shit you are.
Yeah. He's like, listen, LT, they're not gonna go after you. They're gonna burn your fucking house down with your family in it.
He's like, he says, you think because you're a cop, he won't kill you?
Yeah.
You're this close already to death. And he says, I've been fucking dodging bullets since I was 14. No one can kill me. I'm blessed. I'm a fucking Catholic. So like it on one side can be critical of the church. On the other side, it's got that pride, which itself is a sin.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's that pride, I think, that makes him feel invincible, that makes him feel like these addictions that he has aren't detrimental to him because he feels like he's in control. He can can come out good on the other side. You know?
And it's that pride really that we get all these moments that aren't really about like the baseball game or the nun, those even smaller like vignettes of like his work as a cop, really, or what he does, wielding the power that comes with being a cop, and how he abuses that power to like there was that robbery, and he basically just like uses his power. I'm not going to go over the whole scene, but he uses his power to scare these boys into giving up the money that they took from the store owner, and he just pockets it.
Yeah.
He says, "Get out of here." There's like times where he arrives at a crime scene and then someone tips him off that there's drugs in the car because he's going to flip it. It's not because it's like, oh, yay, I have a good like confidential informant that helped me with the case or anything. He tries to like clumsily steal that bag of drugs and tuck it into his jacket, and it falls out, and he goes like, hey, what the fuck is this? kind of thing. So he's very much on a power trip with his like position in society. Mm-hmm. As well as like his addiction to substances and gambling. So he's like the total package of like of Catholic guilt. Yeah. Really.
You want to know a bit of context for his character that it's not text in the movie, but I heard them. Abel Ferrara and cinematographer Ken Kelch talk about it in the commentary. Apparently, LT is about to retire. There's this little known fact about how the couple of years leading up to cops' retirements, that's when they kind of are gathering the most funds for their retirement.
Like the police union or whatever, like kicks in more during that? Or you mean like...
I think what happens most of the time is they just do a lot more overtime, you know, so that they can, you know, get their pensions up and everything.
Right.
And then they're just banking that overtime and all that fun stuff. However, like the implication is as they get closer to retirement, there's not all cops, but like this cop in particular, he's getting more and more dirty.
Oh, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. He's trying to like cushion the blow from the steady income.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. He's at the end of the road of his career. He doesn't give a shit anymore. He's obviously deep into drugs and gambling at this point. Like the fact that he's a cop just like does not control any of his behavior whatsoever.
It facilitates it. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Which I think is why some people could read this. I don't know if you picked this up in your research or not. They could read this movie as a response to the Rodney King assault. Really? Did you look into that at all? Or do you know, how much do you know about the Rodney King incident?
I mean, police brutality, right?
Right.
It was caught on camera and.
Right. And, but like the context of that is like Rodney King was on parole because of a robbery he did like a few years back, which was just like $200 knocking over like a convenience store. He like had a pipe and like hit the guy and got $200. So he was like driving drunken. He was intoxicated, right? Driving home one night with two of his friends, and like some cops decided to tail him because he was like going too fast. And then it escalated to a chase, and then it escalated to like 5 or so officers being there. And then like, they also like roughed up, and this is very much putting it lightly, roughed up his friends as they got out of the car, and then like took it way too far because he was like intoxicated. Right. But they kind of used that as a justification to be like, oh, he's being very aggressive.
Yeah.
Like all 6, I think by the end of it, there was like 8 cops like taking down one guy. It's like, how many people do you need? Really? You know? And that's probably a discussion for another time, but that was 1991 and Bad Lieutenant is 1992. So then to immediately come out with like a movie that's like centering the most degenerate cop you've ever seen, it does feel like a statement, or like a response to that incident, really.
Yeah, I mean the movie itself, I think the plot glue that keeps all of these vignettes together is the rape of the nun, and that was something that actually happened.
True. I think the cop in that scene where you're like, "Are you a Catholic?"
Yeah,
I think he was the one.
He's the actual detective who solved that case, and then that had such an impact on the community that like I think I read somewhere that like even people were like pulling money together to put contracts out to like hunt down the people that did that, because it was such a horrific crime,
right?
Especially to a very heavily Catholic community.
Yeah,
you know? They wanted retribution for
and
that.
I think that directly that very real life inspiration from it is what makes that plot line of the nun and how she like forgives her assaulters.
Yeah.
Like in confession, she's like, I could tell you, but I'm not going to. Like LT like overhears her talking to the priest about it. And he's just kind of puzzled. He's like, why? Why don't you want retribution for this horrible thing that happens to you? He even like directly asks her at one point when she's praying. And she's like, I forgive them. I forgive those boys. Like my heart has forgiven them. Yeah. And he's like, it just doesn't pierce his consciousness of why you would do that. Because he is like a man of action for like all the selfish things that he wants. So it just makes logical sense to him. If you get wronged, they get wronged.
Right. And also, he wants that $50,000 reward.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like Catholicism does it like features so heavily in this movie, up to the point where like he does have that conversation with the nun, and she's like, "No, I'm not going to tell you," you know, and then she walks away. He's trying to convince her, but she's so convicted in this that she it's not an issue to her anymore. She's forgiven them. And that's another kind of thing. It's dashed his hopes of getting that $50,000 and getting out of this gambling hole that he's in. He has a freak out, and he does that like horrible wail.
Yeah, in the church.
Church.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, and it's like something deeper than despair. You know.
Yeah. It reminds me, and I said this when we watched it, I was like, this is kind of like possession, about how she's just staring up at Jesus on the cross and just, there is, it's like the soul eking out agony.
Yeah.
And it manifests as like this kind of pathetic whine of that will make you uncomfortable even when you know it's coming, even if you've seen this movie like 2 or 3 times, it's just like, how did Harvey like decide on that as the expression,
Right.
instead of like an outright, maybe it would have been like cliche or like done to death of him like just trashing the place. Really, maybe that's not interesting. Maybe he's like, you know what is interesting? A pathetic, and he does like that face with it too. It's very
Like, to Harvey Keitel's credit, like, he's also taking into account that he's fucking high, you know?
right.
And
Duh, I forgot about that.
and he's just like, he cannot control his emotions at all. He has zero control over them. And he's broken in that moment. So of course it's going to come out as this like just physical wail, and you know, and he's having a vision. He's seeing Jesus come into the church, and he's got the crown of thorns, and he's just all bloodied up, and he's yelling at him.
Where were you?
Yeah.
I think is what he yells too. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I think is a thing a lot of addicts will do, is they'll blame their addiction and their actions while addicted on other people, on their circumstances, and on their deities, you know?
Yeah, it's like a bargaining method.
So he cannot take accountability for his actions because at the core of it, he doesn't think that any of this is his fault, you know, or his responsibility. Right. He's just a guy dealing with what he's got. He's been dodging bullets since he was 14. But he's a shark. He's just swimming.
Right.
You know, and the drugs keep him swimming.
Yeah. They keep him afloat, really. And I think it's fascinating. Like the drug aspect of it is fascinating, right? Because I thought, like, who the fuck comes up with this, really? And I think that aspect of it, and like the Catholicism aspect, comes from the co-writer Zoe Lund, who was like famously like a heroin user, but she like controlled it. You know, I'm not trying to like make any excuses or anything like that, but this is like her words. Is she's like, yeah, I'm a controlled user, and all this like the myth of like a drug user like having a death wish. That no, like we want life more than anyone, but it's an addiction. Like shit. Like I could, if I could kick it, I would.
Yeah.
So she's chosen the route of being like controlled about it. She's quoted as saying like, hey, I wrote this movie in spite of Abel. Really, because they had like a partnership for the movie Miss 45. Yeah. Before this, when she was 17, when they made that, by the way, and that's like a revenge flick where she gets, you know, a plot point of that is she gets sexually assaulted a few times and then goes on a vigilante killing spree. It's basically that. But then with this one, she's like actually in the movie as one of the people administering heroin to Harvey Keitel. And she has that one speech. I don't know if you remember it.
The vampire monologue.
Yeah. That was written like right before they filmed it.
I wrote it down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Tell that. That's a pretty good speech.
She's going through this as she's administering the heroin, as she's doing heroin herself. She says, vampires have it easy. They feed on others. We have to feed on ourselves. We have to eat our legs to have the energy to walk. We have to come in order to go. We have to suck ourselves off. We have to eat away at ourselves till there's nothing left but appetite. We have to give and give and give crazy, because a gift that makes sense ain't worth it. Jesus said 70 times 7. They'll never understand why you did it. They'll just forget about you tomorrow, but you got to do it.
Yeah, and that comes from a very personal place.
Yeah,
with her, right? And then to kind of like fast forward a little bit, because she tragically died several years after this movie, and I think that story is incredible because that story is she like moved to Paris, I think, and she was like in a relationship with this guy who was dealing coke. Yeah, right. So she started shooting up coke at that point, but then she started having chest pains, and the guy like refused to let her go into the doctor to get looked at, and it turned into like a staph infection. So when she finally did get it diagnosed, it was like already too late.
Yeah.
So
She died of heart failure, right?
from that staph infection too. So I think if it wasn't for like that controlling boyfriend, she probably could have lived longer than that, you know? So I think that just goes against, like, you may see some stories online about Zoe Lund and like, she was just an addict and, you know, her drug habit finally caught up to her. Yes and no, you know, she wasn't doing it out of a wish.
She didn't die of an overdose, but she did die as a result of the life she led through her addiction.
Yeah. But then there were shitty men in her life that were like preventing her from seeking medical help. And then there's all this friction between her and Abel Ferrara about like who really like came up with the core concepts behind Bad Lieutenant. And she said, again, she wrote it in spite of him. But then kind of has like cheeky language about like, we got it done, you know? And, you know, despite several instances of him being like kind of a creep, to be honest, there was like a toss away line about how she says he once offered to give her $100 to touch his dick. I'm like, yeah,
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah. So as much as we're like, Abel Ferrara has like this vision and stuff like that, not the greatest guy.
I think Abel Ferrara is crazy. He's crazy. He's nuts.
Yeah.
You know, not to say he's a man with a lack of vision, but like, let's talk about that, the scene with the two women, that he pulls over.
Oh yeah.
So, as written,
you have it?
yeah,
Okay. I don't know how that was written.
As written, that scene in the script, draft one of the script says, he blackmails them into humiliating sex scenes on a side street off 11th Avenue. LT plays it out until dawn. Now, okay, so you take that and think about how that scene is like a 5-minute scene.
Oh, it goes on forever. It feels like that will never end.
Forever. You know, it doesn't go on until dawn, you know, but I think it's interesting how that was ultimately translated into a scene in the film. In the movie, what happens is LT is on a fucking bender. He pulls over these two young women. They're driving without a license, and he uses that as an in to blackmail them into not really performing sexual acts on him, but something much more depraved and like humiliating.
Yeah.
He has one turn around and show him her ass, and then he has the other kind of like mock giving a blowjob while he jerks off to them. And he's just kind of he's just like verbalizing all these kind of humiliating things, like, oh, look, that's how you suck a cock, you know?
Yeah.
Until he comes, you know? And that's how the scene plays out. Now, none of that dialogue is written.
No.
And so, you know, when it comes to like what's Abel Ferrara's vision, you know, he basically set up the scene and let Harvey Keitel figure it out.
Yeah. So.
There's a bit in the commentary track where Abel says, imagine if we had every word of this scene in the script and sent that in.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. Say no more. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, there is.
So, and they talk about how Lund did write this, like, it was like a 100-page script or something like that. And Abel, like, maybe took that and like had like an 80-page script that he pulled things that he liked from it. And then even from there, it was a lot of like improvised scenes. Mm-hmm. And so it's like on the one hand, he is a kind of director that, and I've heard a lot of different people say this. He gives you a lot of freedom to do what you need to do for a film, you know,
which can be risky, and sometimes actors don't want that.
Yeah.
They want the words on the page and just like, well, let's refine that, or I'll put my own spin on it.
Yeah.
And this one is just like, here's the scenario, go. Yeah. And it really takes a mind like Harvey Keitel's to be like, Watch this.
They talk about how the scene, which is a very short scene, but the scene we get to see some Harvey Keitel hang dong in is he's again, it's a night he's crashing out, he's doing drugs, he's drinking. There's that shot of him pouring a glass of vodka or whatever.
Yeah, when he's like sitting,
sets it aside and then just starts chugging.
I think it just gets all over his chest because he's like shirtless too.
And eventually he gets naked and he's just kind of standing there, like swaying from side to side, and then just is like, I won't go so far as to say I identify with that scene. But I've had like moments on like a bender where I'm just like, you just kind of like feel so not real, you know?
Words can't really express how you're feeling. So it's just,
yeah. Yeah, he's a man trapped in his own fucking prison of depravity. But anyways, for that scene, they shot that scene for hours and hours and hours. And it was a lot of just Harvey, Abel letting Harvey improvise and work with the two other actors who were in that scene, and just they were just shooting shit.
And then the end result of that is pretty nonverbal.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a single spoken dialogue other than the wailing that we were talking about.
And you're just kind of left to like wonder what's going on here.
Yeah.
You know?
So like that kind of scene is like written in the editing room.
Yeah.
Really is just, you know what?
100%.
The less said, the better.
Yeah.
Here.
And they were moving so fast, and they were working without permits. They were shooting out in broad daylight.
They were scribbling fuck in a real church, I think. Yeah. On graffiti.
There's a great line from the editor, Anthony Redman. He once told Abel that he hoped focus wasn't a big thing for him, because if he only wanted to use stuff that was in focus, we're fucked. And then when Ken Kelsch, the cinematographer, said it was hard to see Harvey in the nightclub scene because they just walked into this active nightclub. They didn't light it. He's walking around with a 60-pound camera on his shoulder, just following Harvey Keitel through this real nightclub. He's telling Abel, I can't see his face. I can't see him. Abel just goes, look, we see him in every fucking frame. We know what he looks like.
That's Abel Ferrara's version of, I think you know what I'm going to say, the David Lynch crash out on like a Twin Peaks season where he's like, who gives a fuck how long the scene is?
So, you know, on the subject of what kind of a director is Abel Ferrara, you know, I think that kind of like gives you a glimpse a little bit.
And, you know, I think maybe this is just like a happy accident. I don't really believe that, though. This is like one of I think the best design, the intent of the movie is to begin and end the movie in a very parallel way. Because he starts in his car picking up, I think, what are his sons, because they do call him dad.
Yeah, I think they're his sons.
Yeah. So he picks up his sons, and there's like the specific framing from the camera being on the driver's side door of like him in the foreground and then the kids in the background in the passenger seat and then like the back seat. And then later on in the movie, when he finds the two like sexual assaulters, and they're like smoking crack while the baseball game's going on. And that's really where those plot lines converge, by the way, is like he loses the game. The game does not go his way. He is fucked, but he found the rapists, and he has like this stash of like 30 grand or some kind of thing.
It's like 35 grand of from drugs that he had a dealer sell for him.
He's just got a box of money with him when he finds these guys, and then kind of makes a decision there that he doesn't verbalize. He's just like, come with me.
Yeah.
And they leave, and he eventually he cuffs them and he puts them in his car and they drive somewhere. And that framing is identical to when he's driving his kids to school earlier. And they end up at a train station. No, sorry, it's a bus station.
Yeah.
Because then there's like a Greyhound there, it's going out of town. And he's like, get the fuck out of here. it's actually hard to replicate what he said because it was so spur of the moment. And like, he's on the verge of wailing. I think he even does like kind of while he's doing this to them, but he's like, get the fuck out of here. I don't want to see you ever again. Go.
He's like, you think you're not getting on that fucking bus?
Yeah, you think you're not getting on it? Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, and just like, get the fuck out of here. I don't ever want to see you ever again. And he forgives them in his way.
Yeah.
He like takes the nun's advice, and you're like, what? Who are you to be giving out forgiveness like this? But like at the same time, that is kind of exactly what she was doing.
Yeah.
Is forgiving those guys, even though you think on paper they have every right to be punished by the law for what they did. It was a crime. It's abhorrent. But forgiveness was the route that was chosen.
Doubly so for when LT forgives them, not only does he not take them in, he gives them tens of thousands of dollars and says, there's nothing for you in this town. Go. Yeah. Now,
the implication is turn your life around before you become like me.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
And I think the beauty of that is for all we know, they could have gotten off at the next stop and shot that money into their arms. You know what I mean?
Right.
We don't know if they turn their lives around. We don't know if it was a good thing that Harvey Keitel did, But I think that's the point, right? Because it's free will is a thing in Catholicism, right?
Right.
It's not about being like an authority on good behavior. It's trusting that people will save their own souls.
Or having the faith that they will do that.
Yeah.
Putting your faith in someone else.
Yeah.
Is the scariest thing. And like truly forgiving someone.
Uh-huh.
Almost unheard of.
Uh-huh.
So it was a radical act for him to do that.
And he knows that even if he did turn them in and got the $50K, he's so deep in the hole, he's fucked, So he's like, I might as well, in my final act, try with every indication that it would fail, at least try to do one good thing.
Right.
In life.
Yeah.
And then what happens? He gets in his car. Another car pulls up. Hey, cop. And he gets fucking blown away. And that's how the movie ends.
Yeah. And then slowly the camera lingers on him, and slowly a crowd starts to gather around and be like, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I think there's like there's a banner in the background that says like, it all happens here or something like that. That was kind of a weirdly happy accident because, again, they didn't really plan any of that. They didn't set dress. It was just, it happened to be there.
No, yeah. I think more than half of the people on that shot are just people on the street.
Yeah.
And like as that's happening in the commentary, they're like, yeah, this is just a very New York thing of being like, what's going on over there? Yeah, some guy got fucking shot. Oh shit.
For real? Yeah.
But no, Bad Lieutenant, it's a ride. It's a dirty ride. You don't feel great about it. No. But it's fascinating.
And nonetheless. It's fascinating. You may not even agree with it. You probably won't, actually. But that's what makes it a challenging movie.
Yeah.
I think. And worthwhile of being in the conversation.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. It's a movie about contradictions, up and down the board.
Yeah.
Which, contradictions are fun to watch.
Yeah. Which segues perfectly into
Dragged Across Concrete.
Yes.
So what's Dragged Across Concrete about? Give me the elevator pitch.
Okay. Elevator pitch in this. We got two cops who kind of play fast and loose with the aggressiveness of their policing.
Yeah.
They get caught on camera and they get suspended. There's two plots. This is the cop plot. And they get suspended, and then they have to figure out a way to make some money during that time that they're being suspended. The B plot is there's this ex-con named Henry who just got out of jail, but his life isn't all that great either. So he's trying to plot a way to make his ends meet, really, for his mother and his handicapped brother who's in a wheelchair. So those are the two plots that kind of run in parallel.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. And we just see how they converge.
Yeah.
And the aftermath of when they converge, really. That's dragged across concrete.
Yeah, it's a very simple plot, you know. But I think what makes the movie are the characters and the character interactions.
Yeah. I said after we watched it, I think every time I watch this movie, I've seen it like 2 or 3 times now, I feel like I read a really grimy, dirty, pulp crime novel.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because it turns out the writer-director, S. Craig Zahler, is a novelist. He's a very prolific writer, actually. It's just his things don't tend to get made. I think they get sold and like looked at. They get workshopped a lot. They're being talked about. But he has such a specific style and vision that it's kind of like, how the fuck did we make this?
He has a very specific perspective. And I think a lot of times he, as a filmmaker, is... I saw kind of a clickbait headline. Meet the filmmaker making movies for the MAGA crowd.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
I agree. It's pretty clickbaity.
He is very, and I think unfairly, labeled a kind of conservative or reactionary filmmaker. Specifically because of the kinds of movies he makes, the tones that he makes, and the perspectives of his characters.
Right.
I mean, you could be forgiven for kind of having that immediate reaction, right? Because let's look at the characters and the situations that play out. Ridgeman, played by Mel Gibson, and Lurisetti, played by Vince Vaughn. Let's look at the casting first. 2 of Hollywood's kind of most outspoken conservatives.
Yeah, to put like a 90s spin on it. 2 of Hollywood's bad boys, you know, kind of thing. They themselves are outspoken conservatives.
Yeah.
Right? That's their personal politics, you know?
Yeah.
But I think what muddies the water really is that they, at least Mel Gibson, I'm genuinely unaware of any Vince Vaughn behaviors, but Mel Gibson does have a documented history of being a piece of shit.
Alcoholism, anti-Semitism.
Beating on his wife.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
good. Just not good.
You have those 2 actors that have their very conservative baggage that come with the film. So it doesn't really help the argument that you're not making like a conservative kind of movie. You know, the situation that those 2 characters are in, they are cops, they're detectives who are suspended not because they were too rough with a perp, a Latin American perp, right? But because they were recorded being too rough with a Latin American perp.
Yeah.
And so that kind of does drum up a little of that like reactionary populist kind of thing of like, you know, the cops are too handcuffed, you know, to be able to do their jobs, to be able to keep drugs off the street. And I think Mel Gibson's character says it a couple times. He's like, we arrested a guy who was going to put drugs in schools.
That's so funny because it does bring the mind that you envision the guy that they ended up arresting as just showing up and being like, "Hey Holmes, want some fucking crack?"
The guy that always plays Hector. The guy that always plays Hector.
Yeah, I forgot his name, but I do like him when he's in a movie. He was good too. He's like, "Hey, she doesn't hear so good." You know? But yeah, I think that touches on like propaganda, really.
Yeah.
You know, we've been inundated with cop shows and cop movies that basically toe the line of like, man, if only the law didn't get in the way of our law enforcement officers.
Right.
We're gonna put them away just for them to come back out. Like, that story, that myth has been repeated over and over and over that so many people just believe it unquestionably.
Right.
And that's kind of what this movie plays with that could be not considered. I think it is a reactionary ass movie. You know, I don't think it's a conservative movie. When I think conservative, I think, man, you know what's going to get me back into bull riding? My faith in God. It's
kind of like a fantasy.
Absolutely.
For like the Blue Lives Matter crowd, right? Because it's like, cops should be held accountable for wrongdoing. on the job.
Right. When you
also oftentimes they are not.
They're public servants.
Yes.
They are accountable to the public.
So you have this plot where the cops like are, in a very rare case, held accountable, but it's treated as like, that's bullshit. How dare the law how dare the DA be Mexican American and demand a higher standard?
Right. And there is some like kind of like on the nose dialogue about that between Don Johnson, the boss, the chief, right? Where he's like, our Mexican American DA is really bringing the hammer down on here.
Yeah.
And they kind of have that sense of like, broad strokes here, racist camaraderie.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote it down because I think it's important to hear the lines as they're written.
Yeah.
Because it is so on the nose that it's hilarious.
It's hilarious, and it's like kind of incongruent, and I'm sure we'll get to this with the rest of the movie.
Right.
That is so well written.
Don Johnson, who plays the chief, who has to like hand down this like, you guys got to turn in your badges. Yeah. Sorry. He says, just like cell phones, which they're brought down because of cell phone footage that recorded them do this. He says, just like cell phones and just as annoying, politics are everywhere. Being branded a racist in today's public forum is like being accused of communism in the 50s. These are the real words. Whether it's a possibly offensive remark made in a private phone call or the indelicate treatment of a minority who sells drugs to children. The entertainment industry, formerly known as the news, needs villains. To which Vince Vaughn's character replies, there's certainly nothing hypocritical about the media handling every perceived intolerance with complete and utter intolerance.
Go on. It still goes on.
Don Johnson says it's bullshit, but it's the reality. and then
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
and then it ends with Vince Vaughn's character saying, I'm not racist. Every Martin Luther King Day, I order a cup of dark roast.
Yeah.
So like, I think it's very important to like try and like dissect this a little bit, because as Craig Zahler has been very public about saying, my movies are not political. I'm not political. I am actually in the middle of the spectrum, which in a lot of times is a secret way of saying you are actually conservative.
I was just going to say, it's being like, I'm not political. It's just the way of saying like, I'm conservative, but I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. You have this very ham-fisted dialogue that is just so, it is so on the nose, like talking points of Fox News almost, really,
Yeah. You can be like, highlight it and then put in the edge of the script notes being like, okay, Blue Lives Matter. Okay. Okay. Fake news.
How I'm choosing to read it is, I want to take as Craig Zahler for his word. I want to take him at his word for saying he's in the middle of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Right.
We want to do a good faith interpretation of this.
Yeah. I don't want to call the man a liar. I think because it's so on the nose, it's got to be some kind of satire. I think he's making fun of these people. I really do.
I think so too, because there are genuine moments of like good jokes.
Yeah.
In this movie. My favorite joke, and I think it's his favorite joke too, is the sandwich scene, which was much talked about when this movie came out. And it was you loved it or you hated it.
Yeah.
The sandwich scene. The sandwich scene in question is they're on a stakeout, and Vince Vaughn's character is on the last bite of this like sandwich. And it takes, I timed it like 1 minute and 10 seconds for him to get through it. And he's just
chomp on it.
He's grabbing a napkin. He's blotting out the corners of his mouth. He like considers the sandwich. Or he also looks at the camera that they're using for the stakeout. It's just the loudest freaking crunch.
It's like they
Mel
put
Gibson,
a fucking microphone in his mouth.
Yeah,
to catch
yeah.
this. That's what it sounds like.
and Mel Gibson doesn't even fucking look at him. He's just silent, straight ahead while he's doing this. And then Vince Vaughn like busts out a salt shaker, gives it a couple little dashes on it, puts it in there.
Crumples up the foil.
Yeah. And that's finally when Mel Gibson chimes in and he says, oh my God, what does he say? I've been listening to and smelling that for the last 98 minutes. Vince Vaughn says, the best part of a stakeout, other than when it ends, is the eating.
Yeah.
And then Mel Gibson finally retorts with, a single red ant could have eaten that faster.
Yeah, that's the funniest part.
It's so good. And then just to cap off that scene, I love the end of that scene too. He busts out some mints.
Yeah.
And he's like, take two.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn's like, I'm still enjoying the aftertaste. Yeah. Mel Gibson says, not all of us are. Again, that's very funny. It's very dry.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but that is a sense of humor. That is a very specific sense of humor. It's very dialed into the characters. And, despite our, brief dissection of that scene where it's very on the nose about the police incident, the police politics, really, right? The plotting of this movie is so good. The characters in this movie are clearly defined, and it is just a really interesting exercise of long sequences that build tension and are punctuated by violence.
Extreme violence.
Yeah. That makes me just go, Jesus Christ, every single time. And we will probably get to the most
egregious,
bordering on tasteless is what someone wrote
Yeah.
in there later. But let's talk about Henry for a little bit,
Okay.
if you will. Because, despite this like back and forth about racial politics in our society these days.
Which is really, just before we move on from that, another reason I'm I don't think that these are necessarily S. Craig Zahler's thoughts or views or opinions. It's all of that kind of stuff, the reactionary stuff, is very relegated to maybe the first 30 or 40 minutes of like a 2.5 hour movie. It's very front loaded, and it I don't think it really the plot takes over at a certain point, and the ham-fisted political stuff really stops. It doesn't. I don't think I can think of an example of it beyond after Mel Gibson decides he wants to take on these robbers.
I think another instance of it coming up is when he's trying to convince Vince Vaughn's character to do the job, or skip out on it if it makes him uncomfortable. Because he's like, we deserve the right to proper compensation.
Oh yeah, that's the last one. He says, I'm a month away from my 60th. I'm still the same rank I was when I was 27. For a lot of years, I believed that the quality of my work would get me what I deserved. But I don't politic and I don't change with the times. And it turns out that shit's more important than good, honest work. He drops this list of grievances about how unfair it is, which is definitely it's this white victimhood fucking thing.
Right.
That it's I'm entitled to, I don't know, a promotion, wealth, not living in a minority neighborhood where my daughter gets fucking soda thrown at me. That's the last kind of thing where I'm like, oh,
right.
Fucking cry me a river, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. But that is very much within Mel Gibson's character.
That's what motivates him to do what he does the rest of the movie. And then the plot takes over.
Yeah. The fucked up thing is, despite these regressive reactionary politics, it's a damn good movie.
Yeah.
It's a damn good movie. It is crafted very well.
Yeah.
It is a... Go ahead.
But you wanted to talk about Henry. You said, let's talk about Henry, and then we kept talking about the white guys.
Sure. You're like, I'm not done with those white guys. No, before we talk about Henry, let me talk about this article that I found on the movie called Trolled Across Concrete. why Mel Gibson's new film is a curious provocation from The Guardian. So I don't know if you read The Guardian or not. It's very, very spotty in terms of quality. But anyways, it says, Zahler exercises surgical precise control over each minute in the nearly 3-hour runtime. He crafts dialogue with the florid, evocative quality endemic to writers who get their start on pulp literature. So he knows what's up. He knows ball. Wielding similes like brass knuckles. And then like on pacing, he says his pacing is both is and is not leisurely. He likes to let his moments breathe and unfold, albeit for the purpose of amplifying the agony in what are already excruciatingly intense scenes. Mm-hmm. And right there, I think you nailed it. I think that's what draws me into this movie is how well crafted it is.
Yeah.
It is a novelist's movie. It is a writer's movie. So like, you know what? You know what, Zahler? Despite those questionable shit, you crafted something pretty good here.
None of the movie is wasted. They are setups for payoffs later.
Yeah. The sandwich scene to people constantly watching the runtime of a movie. It's like, oh my God, a minute for chewing on a sandwich? That's funny. That's their dynamic.
Yeah.
Because spoiler, tragically later, maybe not tragically, but like spoiler, later, Vince Vaughn does get killed during the intense shootout near the end of this movie. Back to the characters that we really haven't given that much attention to now. There's Henry. There's that other parallel plot I talked about earlier. And he is, I forget where this is from, but it just says, Henry is the closest thing the film has to a decent human being. An ex-criminal roped back into the underworld by his childhood friend, Michael Jai White, who plays Biscuit. Yeah. To support his struggling family. Tory Kittles, the man who plays Henry Johns, plays him with a hard-nosed pragmatism and repressed tenderness. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty good quote because when I watched this movie, I was like, I don't know this guy, but he is captivating. I don't want to look away when he's on the screen. Mm-hmm. And he talks with like an eloquence.
He talks almost to maybe lean into the pulpiness. He talks very gumshoe-like. Mm-hmm. You know?
Are you thinking of that scene where he like goes to the door, his mother's door with the baseball bat?
Yeah, and he's like, you better do it in fast forward.
Yeah,
you know,
do it in fast forward. I'm gonna practice home runs on this guy's head.
So cool.
That's cool. That's sorry. I know it's violent. It's fascist. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's a good line. Very good line delivery. And then there's like the time where he's talking to Biscuit after he dropped him off. He's like, I got a thing lined up. Are you interested? And Henry's like, before I consider that kind of vocation, I need to get myself acclimated. I'm like, all right, thesaurus, let's go, dude.
Yeah.
So he's got that's a character clue into like, oh, this guy he's a plotter.
Yeah.
He's got plans.
Yeah.
He's not just like
he's not a thug.
He's not a thug. I think he's desperate in the way that Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn's characters are desperate to earn some money.
Two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
They're all criminals, you know?
Right.
And I think the movie gives the white guys more justification, you know? But
I disagree.
I
disagree.
mean,
We'll get into it.
We spend more time with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn to get their justification.
Because there's two of them, really.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. But I mean, you can infer, like, because I think their subplot, right, is they're like, we're going to help this bank robbery go down, but then we're going to rob the robbers.
Biscuit and Henry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're like, we're just stealing from criminals.
Yeah.
You know? And Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson are like, we're just going to steal from criminals.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. But there are moments where we get to spend time with them, but it's like in the middle of this tense buildup of the aftermath of the bank robbery, right? They have the robbers who are fucking evil incarnate, by the way.
You know what I wrote down? I was like, these guys sound like white supremacists.
Yeah. But dude, they are straight up evil. And I don't even know if we're going to talk about the Jennifer Carpenter scene or not, because it's brutal. It's
genuinely
upsetting. Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Sure. And I think here's why that scene is kind of a payoff for a setup earlier in the movie. I don't know if you caught it, but when Henry comes home and he plays a video game with his brother, and it's like a safari video game. They're hunting lions. On the flip side, when Mel Gibson's character, when Ridgman comes home and he's trying to like comfort his daughter after she's been assaulted for the 5th time in 2 years.
She got soda poured on her. It's
but he's trying to make her feel better, and he's like, hey, we're gonna put on the lion show, you know. And earlier Ridgman's wife was like, today it's soda, tomorrow they might be getting other ideas, implying that like she's gonna get raped.
Yeah,
like it's unavoidable if we keep living in this horrible part of town,
surrounded by gasp blacks.
And then they're watching that show about the lions, and Sarah says a line that I think is really fucking gross, given the context that it's been led up to. She says they're so cute until they grow up. Yeah. It's like, if you're not paying attention, you kind of gloss over it. But if you put those pieces together, because she says that they're so cute until they grow up. And then Mel Gibson immediately gets up and is like, I got something I got to do. There is this kind of subtext in the movie that there are predators and there are prey.
Okay.
You know?
Now I see what you're putting down.
You know?
Yeah.
On one end, with the politics of it, you're talking about like white flight. You know, we are prisoners in our own city. The white people are prisoners in their own city. We're victims. It's like such a victimhood fantasy that's played out. But anyways, there are predators and there are prey, and these kind of white supremacists, you never see their faces, but they're just all in black.
Yeah,
and
goggles and the ski mask kind of thing.
They are predators, dude. They don't give a fucking shit. That scene where he goes into the gas station and just like blows those guys away with like zero emotion to it. Like he is a lion.
Just to get the money from the register.
Yeah. Jennifer Carpenter's prey, you know? And that's how I think that kind of metaphor that he's been playing with plays out. Is you have this mother who is terrified to leave home. She has agoraphobia mixed in with like some maybe postpartum depression. She doesn't want to leave her baby. Yeah. And she's been on maternity leave. Her maternity leave is up, and her husband is like trying to do like the right thing by forcing her to go to work and, you know, just pull the Band-Aid and, you know, and she desperately doesn't want to go.
This is like an hour and a half into this movie.
And you're like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah. And why is this kind of like tender? This can't end good.
No.
Not at all. This cannot end good.
And you realize that she works in a bank. What have we been leading up to this whole time? Oh no. These fucking fascists are gonna rob a bank. Oh no, the fascists are here. Oh no, we know how ruthless they are. We don't have to go through the details, but she gets fucking brutally murdered. And we see it, you know?
And it's
a flash.
Yeah. Half a second.
But it's enough.
It's a half a second you remember.
Yeah. And it is so, you know, like there are people who could argue that it's gratuitous. I think it's integral to what S. Craig Zahler is trying to say in the movie, especially to his kind of like there are predator and prey metaphor. There is extreme violence in the world, and if you look away from it, you're only kind of permitting it to continue happening.
Right.
So that's my take on the whole Jennifer Carpenter scene. It's fucked up. It's so I think Brittany was like, so what movies are you watching for this episode? And I was like, you can't watch either of them.
Yeah. Honey, love you. I mean it.
They're not for you.
They're not for you.
And that's a good thing. So.
Yeah. But then just to kind of like wrap things up a little bit, I would disagree with you in the sense that like the movie favors or spends more time with Ridgman and Luceretti is by the end of the movie, it's Henry's movie because he after this like climactic, I said shootout earlier, but it is not a shootout in like the typical sense of a shootout between like those robbers and the cops. You know? It's a very good like 30, 40 minute climactic moment. It's a sequence. And the two men left standing are Mel Gibson and Tory Kittles, you know, Ridgman and Henry. And they're like, listen, I don't know what you're doing here, but I know what I'm doing here, and I'm here for that gold. 60-40. You know, they negotiate a split somehow, like an uneasy truce. And they're like, we've got to clean this place up. They're like, I got to bury mine.
Both their partners have been killed.
Yeah, you got to bury yours. Yeah. We got to get rid of this. And, you know, right after the moment that they pushed like the car that Ridgman and Luceretti came into the lake.
They're cleaning up.
They're cleaning up.
Yeah.
We've already got moments of, well, Mel Gibson's being like towed and he reaches into the glove compartment and tucks another pistol into his pants. And we got a shot of Henry watching him through the rear view from the side mirror. And he also has a gun stashed and he pockets it. So we're like, fuck, okay. The trap is set. When's it gonna go off? And eventually Ridgman gets into the passenger seat and they're both talking, how are we gonna do this? How are we gonna keep quiet? And they're not really looking at each other because they're both predators in a way. If we're using the metaphor of predators and prey. These are two predators who know that one is going to make the move. And Mel Gibson's the first one who does it. Yeah. He tries to take out Henry.
Because Henry has the upper hand, really. He's got that cell phone footage of Mel Gibson shooting the hostage.
Yeah. And his only assurance is that he's like, my word is my bond. Yeah. And Mel Gibson's like, I can't take that chance. Tries to kill him. But Henry gets him. Yeah. Henry gets him. He's got like 2 shots in him. And then you just hear Mel Gibson like breathing out from his punctured lungs. And Henry's like, why couldn't you trust me? Yeah. He's like, I gave you my word. And Mel Gibson's like, fuck all that. Can you give the gold to my family? Kind of thing. He's like, it's too late for all that shit. Yeah. He's like, they're not getting 40, but I'll take care of them. Yeah. Kind of thing. And then we follow him as he like goes to like this grave site where he's buried. There's like three burials, but he talks to Biscuit in the moment. He's like, I'll be back to bury you right. Yeah. Like you're my brother.
Once all this blows over.
Because they had like this heart to heart on the way to that scene where the shootout takes place. Yeah. It was a very, very interesting, intimate moment where you can tell Biscuit's scared out of his fucking mind. Yeah. By these psychopaths in the back. And Henry's like, you know what? Remember that time at your birthday? Like you were really into dinosaurs and you got mad because your mom gave me the biggest slice of cake. And Biscuit's like, yeah. He's like, she knew mama didn't treat you right. Yeah, didn't provide enough. Yeah. Again, those are very good character moments. They aren't expendable bullet fodder. They are like characters that you care about. And then by the end, we get like a flash forward and he's got like a very nice house now. Like a rich guy's fucking house. Yeah. And his mom lives there. His brother lived there. He talks to his brother about like, hey, you want to be like a game developer kind of thing? He's like talking about plans. They have future plans, not purely present misery anymore. So he's done something with that wealth to set up his family. And he sent Ridgman's wife like a couple bars of gold, not 40. Definitely not 40. Not 40. But something, you know. So I think it's fascinating because then they do play the safari game again. Yeah. And I think the last line is like, now let's go hunt some lions. So he has changed. That is kind of a dark turn. So despite him being like, you know, this well-spoken, well-meaning, but in like the wrong circumstance, like criminal, doing a criminal thing, he was like, I'm just doing this to get us in a better position. And now they're in a better position. He might have like a bloodlust a little bit now. He's like, let's go let's go kill some lions.
He's transcended the, you know, like the lions are bad people, you know.
The lions are the people who won't take you for your word.
It's a very complicated movie, you know.
It really is.
And I think to write it off as a MAGA movie or a conservative or a reactionary movie, I think is like, it's like, yeah, it has those things.
Right.
But that's not all it is, you know?
Correct. And there was this article I read. I do want to shout it out, even though we didn't talk too much about it. It's called Dragged Across Concrete in the New Topography of Fascism by Abdul Y. Malik. He's a Canadian-based photographer and writer. He has this thing I wanted to leave us on, and I think it applies to both Bad Lieutenant and Dragged Across Concrete.
Okay.
Is, quote, "It's important to understand that bad people make good things with bad messages and interrogate those messages. It's important to hold the artists accountable for those messages and especially create messages counter to the ones presented." So bad people can make good things, or like people you don't necessarily 100% agree with.
Right.
And I think it's like naive to think that there are people that 100% agree with you. And that kind of gets in the way of creating art that really has any lasting meaning. It might be like important for the moment, seemingly, or like kind of line up with the cultural politics of the now. I don't think a lot of those like stand the test of time, really. It's like, oh yeah, well, this was a message movie of its time, really. I don't have any specifics to point out, really, so my argument's a little flimsy there. But I don't think this is doing like the message movie. It has a little bit of that like reactionary flavor
Right.
to it, but as like a film, like a work of art, it's unique. It's interesting. It's tangible. I think it's worth talking about and not just throwing out the baby with the bathwater kind of thing. I don't know. What do you think?
It doesn't take one direction with what it's trying to say, right?
And it's not overly didactic.
Yeah. And like at the end of the day, it's just a pulp movie.
Right.
You know, like we don't got to get our panties tied up in a wad about it. Like it is an interesting film, and you know, it makes me interested to see what else Craig Zahler like is gonna do.
Right.
I don't agree. I in fact like make fun of a lot of the like talking points in the movie. It doesn't make me enjoy like the things that I enjoy about the film any less. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that, to your point about throwing the baby out with the bathwater, it's like things don't have to be just one thing.
Yeah, right. These can coexist. I'm not saying we should ban everyone who was involved in this from ever making a movie ever again.
Yeah.
It's just like, I would prefer if not all of them were like this. Yeah. But you know what?
I can have the opinion that Mel Gibson is kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And also enjoy how he acts in films.
It's a good performance. It was a good performance. I fucking hate to say it, but good performance.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, say that I'm supporting a anti-Semite or whatever. Like, it doesn't have to be all that serious.
Of all the movies we've talked about, 100% agree with them either too, but I kind of want the tone of this show to be a more fun, like engaging conversation, and not just be like, so we're talking about this piece of shit that Jake wanted to talk about. Anyways, go on, Jake. You know, there can be a conversation had. We don't need to shut it down just because it's like, it like the virtue checklist. There's Mel Gibson.
Sure.
It's fun. And that's why I'm not going to engage with it.
So our next movie is going to be Lenny Riefenstahl's.
Just because there's a Hitler in it doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it. God. You know, just for that, take us out of here, Jake. You bring up Triumph of the Will. You get to send us off.
I get to own that.
Yes.
And with that,
say no to fascism, folks. Say no to it.
That's PhantasmaCast.
Yeah.
Have a week, guys.
Yeah. See you later.